just a phone to make it bite your granny. So we got just a phone to make it bite your granny. So we got just a phone to make it bite your granny. So we got just a phone to make it bite your granny.
Ustedes acaban de ver una película hecha por Alan Villalta, Legos en la casa.